What do you have any quirky sayings to start this one here? Andy's the master.
About fish?
All I got was just drop your lines in the water. Let's go.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Okay. All right, drop your lines in the water.
Let's go.
Yeah. Whew, we're here. Is that sound coming through? All right, welcome back to Okayest Cook Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Whonsetler, sitting down with Andy in the studio.
Keeps popping back up.
We're
from Texas.
Here in central Indiana today.
Again.
Roped Andy back. We're talking. We have got a super cool guest.
Yes, sir.
We have Sena Wheeler. I'm sorry. Little brain fart.
I was like, you got the hard part.
I got the first name, but yeah. Sena Wheeler, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. My husband's going to be super jealous. He missed this.
Oh, no. What's he doing? Is he out working or something?
He's fishing. He's up in Alaska fishing. And
Okay.
when they're not fishing, they're hunting or talking about hunting. So I think he'd love your show.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
we'll take it. We're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think maybe we might be jealous that we're doing this and
I'm a little
not
jealous, yeah.
in Alaska fishing. I think that sounds fun.
Oh, that might be true.
Absolutely, yes. Yes. Well, have you guys eaten anything cool lately? Any notable meals of the week you want to chat about real fast?
I actually, this is fun because I have one that this happened like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. And I was like, I literally finished. I took the first bite of it. I was like, this is probably what I'll talk about on the podcast the next time I'm on the podcast. Here I am talking about it on the podcast. It was actually it was at an Italian restaurant, and it was a watermelon salad.
Okay.
So it was like traditional, red cubes of watermelon, but also they had yellow watermelon, which I don't know if you've ever had yellow.
No, I've had cantaloupe, and it's gross.
No, it's not that. It's literally tastes like watermelon.
Okay.
But it's yellow. It's got a slightly different flavor profile to it, but it's like watermelon, clearly watermelon.
Huh.
But it had it was like made up to be like a salad that you would have, like a dinner salad, and it was it had like Parmesan, like freshly grated Parmesan cheese on it.
Oh my gosh.
Cubes of watermelon, red onions. And it's like, it kind of like, even when I was reading it, I was like, I don't know if this all works. I love all of the things I just said separately.
Right.
But I don't know if this works together. Turns out it does, friends.
Onion, cheese, and watermelon.
Yeah, it was so good. And it was like, I was like, this is one of the most interesting things. And it was refreshing. And we just had, we had an appetizer before. I had pasta coming. So it was a great mid-meal, like, refresh.
Nice.
So good.
That's awesome.
So that's mine.
Yeah, I will go last. So I'm volunteering Sena, if you've got something cool. Do you want to chat about some food?
Yeah. I love to eat, so I love all the meals, but we just got back from Alaska, and so of course we have the amazing fish, but I have a gal, we live in Washington, and my husband fishes in Alaska, so he's up there 6 months of the year, and the kids and I go back and forth a little bit and go out with him and things like that. So we just get back, and I have a lot of great fish, but I'm not a great gardener, partly because we spend a lot of time in Alaska.
Okay.
Not a lot of vegetables up there. So when I come back from Alaska, I call my veggie gal, and we do trade fish for vegetables. And so I got a big load of veggies, and when I'm just cooking for the family, I do it often just like a sheet pan full of whatever veggies I have. Like I just bake them at 350 on a sheet pan. So this one I had green beans, but also like onions and these huge giant green onions and tomatoes fresh from the garden, and
oh man,
I had like some sun-dried tomatoes, and put that all in the oven, bake that for like 15 minutes while I'm getting the fish ready. And then I happen to have some Copper River King. Just if there's a pop seal or they're not perfect for our customers, then I just take them home and cook them for dinner. And I put like a balsamic glaze on, So I'll cook the veggies for like 15 minutes and then make a space, put the fish sort of like in amongst the veggies, put it back in. So I coated the fish with balsamic and then put feta cheese over everything and then put it back in for another 15 minutes and put that over rice, like a rice bowl. And it was so good. It was like a Mediterranean balsamic tomatoey rice bowl. And I was immediately like, I want to eat this every day.
Yeah, you got your veggie fix. That's awesome.
Yes, I'm in love with it. We're here in Indiana. We're in peak tomato season, so it's just the vines are lighting up. We've got tomatoes coming out the ears, so it is time.
I
for
love
that. And I might copy that because it sounds awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes. Well, it. I don't know if it's cheating, but I had some pretty stellar fish.
That's right. We did just that.
Like half an hour ago. Yeah, so you have a fish company, and I'm spoiling kind of where the conversation is going to go, but we literally just made some fish that we got from you guys, and I believe it's the first time I've ever had halibut. I'm trying to remember if I've eaten halibut before today, and I'll be honest, I overcooked it.
He did. He did.
That's
but
with halibut,
the flavor was 100% there. It was awesome, awesome fish. I also cooked up a salmon, slice of your salmon, and that's the thin part of the salmon.
Also a little overcooked.
Also got overcooked.
Not to critique Chris's cooking abilities in his studio
we're the
on a
Okayest Cook
propane
here,
burner, but it was very, very good. Even though the larger side of it was
better.
Done well.
It was better. It was good. We'll say that. But first time cooking fish in a stainless steel pan.
Yeah.
So a little nervous doing that, but the YouTube video I watched.
Did you do like crispy
I
skin?
did all the things. Yeah. Yeah, with the salmon.
Did you do like a crispy
piping
skin?
hot.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what you mean. You might have to describe that later on, but just fried, skin down. No, skin up for starters.
Skin up.
Cooked it halfway through. Finished on the skin, and then just straight avocado oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, and
then butter.
Some butter. Yeah,
some really good butter.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was awesome. I can't wait to do it again. And not overcook it?
Not cook it as long. I kept telling him, I was like, I like it basically raw. You could probably take it off now. But it was like, but then we were trying to figure out like what does that temperature actually look like. So we were kind of also using it for science too, in his defense. Yeah. Trying to figure out like what's the temperature amount that looks like. So there was a lot of.
We're hoping you got some tips for us.
Oh yeah, I got all kinds of tips.
Awesome. Well, on that segue, do you want to introduce kind of yourself and give like a little 2-minute bio and kind of end with the shop?
Yeah, I am, 5th generation fishing family. So, and my parents like to say, probably more like 300 generations, because my grandfather immigrated from Norway, where he learned to fish from his father, who learned to fish from his father, and so on. So I grew up, Seattle area, so Pacific Northwest, Seattle area. All my grandfather, uncles, dad, everybody fished. My dad was the son-in-law. So my dad was introduced, my grandpa came from Norway, and so it's my mom's side of the family. My dad was the son-in-law, and started fish his whole career. And my husband is a son-in-law, so also came into fishing and has fished for 25 years, commercial fishing, longlining, and salmon. So we've definitely do a lot of fishing, and our kids come out on the boat. So since they have grown up on, coming out on the boat every year, and they have jobs and they know all about fishing. And when they're not on the boat, they sell at the farmer's market with me and help pack boxes. So for the last 10 years, we started Sena Sea, and we sell our fish direct online. So we ship fish to people's doors, which 10 years ago was kind of a strange concept. Like, we're going to ship you fish in the mail, and people were like, what? But I mean, I guess we were just slightly ahead of our time, because now that's much more of a normal thing. A lot of people get, food deliveries and things like that. So we were kind of ready to roll. You know, when COVID hit, we were already doing that, which was great. We had that learning because shipping frozen fish is not easy. It's very sensitive. You don't have a lot of leeway there. So we already had put a lot of time and energy into nailing that, and I feel like we were ready for it. So
that's super cool.
It's very cool.
Yes, absolutely love it. Yeah. Well, you shipped us some fish, and it made it here well. My kids loved playing with the dry ice.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
That was super fun. Yes. Yeah. My dad taught biology my whole life, and so he had a blast, like showing kids all the things. And afterwards, he admitted I didn't show them how to make an ice bomb with the dry ice. So
that's good.
So thank you, Dad, for not
showing them.
Teaching my kids how to do that at this stage in their lives. They're 5. My oldest is 5. So yeah, super fun. Yeah, the fish made it here great. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm an Indiana boy, so my fish knowledge stops at bluegill. It doesn't even go to walleye. It stops at bluegill.
It stops at bluegill. We knew a little bit about catfish, and then also we eat a lot of salmon because that's like the only like fish that we would get from like a sea that's pretty like popular.
I would say fish that we trust enough to eat as fresh as you should eat fish. So we all that to say we don't know a whole lot about fish. But yeah, from the minute I opened the pack. Maybe you could talk about the packaging a little bit because it had like some wrap around the fish.
Yeah.
But it smelled like salmon, but it didn't smell like quote unquote fishy salmon.
We always say
a lot of times you do see here in Indiana.
Right. It should smell like the ocean, not fishy.
It did.
Yeah. It's just like the salty sea. So we put a lot of effort into getting basically we catch what we consider out of Alaska the most premium fish in the world. So the very cold water makes really good fish. So we're basically starting with the Wagyu. We're starting with the top of the top in terms of fish. And then what we're trying to do as a company, we also have a processing facility. It's a small, my husband runs that as well. So it's a small custom processing. We're not the big guys, they're down the road, but we do a small scale. And basically our whole thing is just keeping that premium quality, not letting it go. So from the handling on board, that's a big deal. Our fishermen, you can't let those fish be flopping around on board because they're going to build up lactic acid and they'll bruise. So from the minute they come over the rail, it's a time temperature and it doesn't stop. So you've got to get them cooled right away. And we do a high pressure bleed. So you're getting the blood out and getting that temperature down immediately. They go into the bleed box and then they're iced with layered ice. And then in the facility, we are, we do a lot of things like scraping the backbone and keeping every little bit of the meat. So we do a lot of kind of sustainability around utilizing the entire fish. But then we also, like you notice, we wrap the portions in parchment. And then we individually vacuum seal and freeze. And so the first year we heard somebody mention parchment and for the first year we tried it. We did like half the fish wrapped in parchment, which we'd never heard of that before, and half not. And then over the winter, what we found was, because we're eating our own fish over the winter all the time, and when we would open a package of the non-parchment versus the parchment, it was very noticeable that the parchment wrap was like an extra oxygen barrier, and that fish had the nicer color. It was just a more premium piece of fish. And so we were like, okay, well, then we're going to do that all the time. So we have that parchment wrap. And then,
we're going to switch.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that. And we freeze to, sushi quality, so you could eat it raw if you wanted. And then we ship it on dry ice to people's doors. So it's really that full, all the way value added. What you're getting is the premium.
Yeah, well, like you said, it worked. It made it from Alaska to Indiana in, just a couple of days. And some of the best salmon. I can't say it's the best salmon I've ever had because my wife and I did a trip to Alaska. So we had fresh local salmon, like straight from Alaska. So
no, but I will
hard
say,
to fight
for
that.
somebody who when we were cooking it up, we were just talking about how often fish makes it into our diet. Salmon was a big part of my diet for a really long time. I used to eat salmon probably at least once a week. We'd make salmon. But the reason I stopped eating salmon every week was because I started. One of a nutritionist that I follow talked about the difference between farm raised and wild caught, and just then you start looking into the color injections and all the things that go into the salmon that I'm eating. That it became, I was like, well, I'm just like adding a bunch of junk into my system that I don't need or want. And then it just became really hard to find wild caught salmon here in general. To the point where I was just like, it's just not something. I just started replacing back with chicken and other proteins, and got away from eating a whole bunch of salmon unless I could find wild caught. And then every now and then you'll get like a Trader Joe's or a butcher shop will get a good amount in, but. And also at that point too, because it's not something they have a ton of, it costs is a lot higher. Yeah. So that's one of those things. Just geographically where we're located, it's hard to get really good salmon.
Well,
but when we were eating, like,
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you just explained exactly why we started our business. Because we're so spoiled, and we were like, there's people elsewhere in the country that just can't find this. It's not at the stores and it's not available. People that really care about the food that they eat, where it comes from, what's in it, and that are willing to, they just want to find it. And so that's kind of why we do what we do.
That's so cool. I love it. I mean, this is Caitlin Green would absolutely love to have a conversation as well. Just it's because, honestly, it's one of the things where what I'm excited to talk to you about with fish is that being where we're located, there's so many good nutritional reasons why salmon should be in your diet, and while all sorts of different fishes, but in general, I myself, and then Chris, I know you take one too. We take omega supplements as well, just to make our omega fish oils, just to get our omegas in properly. Because we're not in a situation where we get enough of it in our diet, and because at the risk of eating a bunch of other garbage that goes along with it too. So, I think it's so cool that you guys have done that, and being somebody who's trying really hard to, the quality of what you're eating matters too. If you're somebody who's only eating junk food every day, all day. Please go to a grocery store, start there in whatever section you can get. But eventually you start getting into like organics or farmers markets and things like that. You also mentioned something that I think is so cool about farmers markets is like, think about like what their farmers market looks like versus like ours.
Oh, yes.
Like you said, you guys sell this at a farmers market. The idea of seeing like fresh fish at a farmers market seems like awesome. Insane to us because that's not something we would see.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So it's very cool culturally too to see the differences on just the different, to your point, all over the U.S. You don't get that, and I think that's so cool that you guys have found a way and are continuing to find ways to perfect it, because nothing is worse than soggy fish that's been sitting in the
fishy fish.
Yeah, it's so it's just it ruins the appeal of all of it. So anyway, talk a little bit about so I'd love to talk more about, I think, and this might be a regional thing too. People think about, there's such thing as eating too much fish, and that there's
that's definitely
what about
a question
mercury,
I have,
mercury levels and things like that. So, you being from a portion of the United States and also just the U.S., the world in general that eats a lot of fish naturally, and I'm sure this is a question you get. Like, what are your thoughts there, or what do you typically tell people? Is that a thing that you even hear people worry about?
No, I mean, in my world, there's no fish is too much fish. My son just went out; he's fishing in Bristol Bay, and he's out there for 6 weeks, and he's a big guy. He's a college wrestler, and I'm going like, hey, you getting enough to eat? And he goes, oh yeah, for every meal, 3 times a day, we just fillet a fish. There's 2 fillets, there's 4 guys, and we cut each fillet in half, and we just eat half the fillet 3 times a day. I was going, oh wow. Yeah, he came home really strong, really big. I was like, if you're gonna eat one thing, at least you're eating the healthiest food on the planet. But in terms of too much fish, and I know where you're going with that with the mercury concern. So basically it's not just a blanket fish concern. It has to do with, when you're thinking about mercury, it has to do with a few things. And one is the lifespan of the fish. And another is the fat content. So if you're concerned about mercury, and I've eaten a lot of fish, and actually my dad and grandpa were halibut fishermen. So halibut would be one of the fish where there's some concern. I grew up eating a lot of it, and I've been tested and have no problems. But basically, halibut is towards the top of the list because of concerns, because the lifespan can be very long. So those big barn doors is what we call them. When you have like a 250-pound halibut, it's been alive for a long time. So basically, it's been eating and accumulating for a really long time. Right. And so those really big halibuts can have a higher mercury content. These days, we aren't the halibut are coming in smaller, and actually for Sena Sea, we choose 20 to 40 pound halibut. So when it comes into the plant, they grade it by size, and we pick 20 to 40 pound halibut, which are much younger. So you have much less concern about the mercury. The other thing is the fat content. So a lot of times when you're looking on lists, it'll say to choose a higher fat content. A lot of times you see mackerel, salmon is a really high fat content, and black cod or sablefish is really high fat content. So if people are concerned about mercury, I usually point them towards black cod or salmon, very high fat content, and then just limit your halibut a bit. But I'm sure nobody where you are is eating too much halibut. I've looked on guidelines in Alaska. So for Alaskans, they have subsistence fishing. They stock their freezers with fish. They get through the winters on fish. And basically it says so there's some guidelines for how much. And for salmon and black cod, it's as much as possible. And for halibut, like twice a week. So those would be some guidelines. Right. But yeah, I think that you should.
A week would be a lot.
Yeah.
For us down here.
It's a lot. So you should try to get close to where you have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's good to put some of these things into realization. We have a lot of conversations on this podcast about like what people think they know versus what they actually, like what's true.
Yeah.
This is one of those in your industry that we hear a lot, and people say, well, I can't have that because of the mercury content. I'm like, well, there's whole like regions of the world that have been around a lot longer than we have that have been like sustained off of these.
Not everybody who can sit down with a food scientist who fishes for a living,
right? And has eaten a lot of fish
to hear it straight. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I love you told that story about your son's diet, and me and Colton love the show Alone.
My husband's been watching that.
It's Yes. Well, it's always the people that find the fish
that win,
that last longer. Yeah. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen anything yet, but the people that land big game, like they're eating all this protein, but they're still starving because they're not getting the fat they need. So maybe we could talk a little bit about that and like some of the other health benefits that fish give you. From a survival standpoint, like if you're stuck on an island.
Yeah, like my son, I was serious. Like, I'm glad it's fish that you're eating 100% of the time. But fish has the omega-3s, and omega-3s are super important just because we don't make them. So we have to, like you mentioned, you take them, but we need to have them in our diet or in a pill. But I think, if you're taking a supplement, also eat fish, because your body is it's going to be bioenergetically, if I'm using the term right, available differently. It's like, take it in every form you can because your body can't make it. And the nice thing about fish is it's the proper ratio. So the omega-3 to the omega-6. So wild fish has the right ratio. And a lot of times farmed fish, it's like, they might have a lot of, unsaturated fat or omega-3, but it's the ratio is off because it's just off, right? They're not out there in the wild eating wild food. They're eating weird pellets and not swimming and things. So the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio can be off. Just kind of, it's like eating margarine instead of butter. It looks the same, but it's not the same. So the omega-3s is for sure, but also it's a great clean protein, a great source of depending on the fish. It's high in fat, but it also has some protein, really clean source of protein. If you think of where these wild fish are going way, way out. I mean, when people that live in big cities or even on coast, even in Seattle area, they're thinking about the water around them and like, I don't know. But when you're fishing in Alaska, it is pure and pristine. And these fish are way out deep in very pure and pristine water. And so these, proteins that they're eating are very pristine, where we're not even, they're miles deep in the ocean. We haven't messed with that area yet. Thankfully. And so
we haven't gotten there to screw it up.
Right. Don't say yet. I don't want
to. Well, yeah, which is a whole nother topic, but it is a pure and pristine environment. But people might not, if they've never been to Alaska, they might not imagine the scope of real nature that is, exists.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, my wife and I did that tour, and like we just barely scratched the surface. It was a 10-day cruise, kind of land excursion kind of thing, and like we barely scratched the surface. So we need to go back.
And Alaska is.
I've been to Vancouver. Farthest is Vancouver. It's the closest I've been to.
You gotta go.
Yeah. And Alaska's no roads. I mean, where we fish out of, there's no roads, and I mean, it's not convenient, which is also great because it's not conveniently overpopulated. You can't get to places, which is good.
Just got to fight the bears for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I just had a question about types of fish and like halibut versus salmon versus. I think you said you have cod on your website as well, sable or cod, same thing. Like how does that nutrition compare, like species to species?
Yeah, it can be very different. So people do kind of blanket fish as omega-3s and things like that, but salmon. Not all salmon is created equal, and this is one reason there's, it's a confusing topic. Salmon, it's each species has different fat contents, and then each species from each river are different. So you have king is the highest. King has the highest fats, which makes it taste good also because the fats are the omega-3s, but it also makes it, buttery and delicious. So you have king, sockeye, coho, pinks, and chum or kita in that order. From it's basically graded like beef from fat content is what makes it the best.
The 5 types of salmon.
Those are the 5 types of salmon.
Say that already for people who aren't aware.
And then they are slightly different from different rivers. So we fish the Copper River. So those 5 stay in that order, but they're each going to have a higher fat content than say sockeye from a different river. And so it makes it complex.
So the list kind of like it might skew a little bit. So if you go from the Copper River to like a swampy little tributary.
Right. Yeah. Well, yes, exactly. So it's like, yes, sockeye is, the second highest fat content, but it's Copper River. So therefore it's even a little bit higher fat content, things like that. And so sometimes I explain it like wine, because it's like, I can't even say the word, but terroir, and fish has merroir. So it is like based on where it comes. And because they spawn back to the river they were born in, it keeps it like that. I think I went on a tangent genetics, though. Okay, let me bring it back. So
we like
besides all the variabilities of salmon, then you have fat content, and there was a reason I was going to talk about fat content. Okay, what was the original question?
About the different nutrition levels between the different fish.
So
different
okay,
fish
thank
species.
you. Okay, we are talking omega-3. So from there's a spectrum. So actually, black cod, which is a bad name because it's not a cod. It's also called sablefish. It's also called butterfish, and it's called many things in many places. It is
I like butterfish.
Really high omega-3 fatty acids, so it's really oily. It's fatty. It doesn't dry out. It's really good. I love black cod, but that would be on the high end of the omega-3 spectrum. So there's black cod and salmon. That's the high end. And then you have a true cod, real cod would be a little lower, and a ling cod. And then the lowest fat content is halibut. And you guys just had halibut. It's very lean. And it's a great lean source of protein, but it's not going to have the omega-3s. And often people that don't really like fish, so people that love fish and are really adventurous in fish, I will point them towards the fattier fish, like the Copper River King and the black cod or sablefish. And if they don't like fish, I usually point them to halibut. And I think that's one of the reasons you see it in a lot of restaurants and people try halibut. They really like it. It's not very fishy, and that's because it doesn't have the omega-3 fish oils. It's very lean and meaty, but you don't want to overcook it because it doesn't have the fat content. You can overcook.
The butter helped, but
adding the butter to it helped.
Oh yeah, butter.
Yeah, the other fillet I have, I'll treat that properly, and I'll pay more attention.
So I don't want to like derail this completely, but I also am just thinking about too, like our audience tend to be people who are trying to get a little bit better. So the other common fish that you'll get across places, outside of maybe like where you're from, is going to be like, so tuna comes up a lot too. So I don't know how much you know about tuna, but that's my other question too, is like, how does that fish play into a role? Because if anyone goes to a sushi restaurant inside of the actual continental United States, landlocked states, you're going to see things that have, crab or imitation crab, tuna, and salmon. So tuna is the other big one there. So I don't know, to give our listeners some kind of like, how does tuna and salmon, how are they relatable or not?
I got my master's degree studying the omega-3 contents of West Coast albacore tuna. So I'm happy to talk about tuna.
Hey. Perfect. Well, I've got the right person.
You know a thing or two.
We don't sell tuna on our site because we fish in Alaska, and we just sell what we catch and process ourselves. But when I got my master's in food science, it was in Oregon, and I was down in Astoria where there's fish stocks. So our lab was in a fishing town, and we worked directly with fishermen with albacore tuna. And tuna is I would say even more so than salmon. It's so varied. I mean, it's just like one word, right? But it's describing so many variations of tuna. And so I was studying West Coast albacore tuna off the Oregon coast. So the tuna swim up the coastline, and so you're catching them in oftentimes more like California up to Oregon and not much further north. But tuna is amazing fish. If you have an opportunity to eat it, not out of the can, which I eat out of the can too. I love tuna, but if you see it on a menu somewhere, seared tuna, things like that, get it. It is so good. It's an amazing fish. We are just like, because it got put in the can, people just think it's that, and it's so much more than that. So when I was studying it, I was like, I'm in the lab. I have these gorgeous tuna, and most of them are frozen at sea. And I like have this drill, and I'm drilling core samples out of different parts of the fish, because I'm analyzing them for omega-3s and things like that. But then I would take the fish home, and in the winter, when my husband's home, he was smoking it. And we would have like, seared tuna, smoked tuna loin. Like, it is the most amazing fish. So tuna is awesome, and it's delicious. I did sensory analysis on it, and, handling techniques also compared to just like if it's handled, and what sensory wise, how can you see if it was bled, if it wasn't bled, and things like that. And it was really interesting, but basically, and I just cooked it with nothing, just loined it, sliced it up, put it on a pan, put it in the oven for 10 minutes, pulled it out, served it to people. And the only problem with the data was it's always good. I mean,
like it's one of those, it's so good. Yeah. But
that's awesome.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that too, because again, most people and most, I would say most Americans especially, when they think of tuna, they think of the can. And that is, it's a great way to use as much of that fish as possible to get it out there for sure. But also, like, to your point, like, tuna nigiri is like my favorite thing at a sushi restaurant. Every time I get sushi, I always do salmon and tuna nigiri. It's like and I always eat it last because it's my favorite. I want to end on that note. So no, it's so cool to hear, and also good to know that, like, again, it's just a whole nother level of other things that are there. But again, the only reason why you don't sell it is it's not a thing that you guys catch, which is also the other thing that I think is super cool about having this conversation, and that you guys are shipping these things across the entire nation. is awesome because like you can only get what you get out of the Copper River, right? Like that's what it is,
right.
You know? And it's cool that you're staying true to that.
Absolutely.
And, so yes, that's very cool. So, where are we going next with the?
I know you've answered a lot of my questions. You're kind of derailing me here.
No, we're running out of questions now.
Yes. How long will it keep in your freezer? So like once I get this package, is there like I didn't look for a Best By date, but how long should I keep it in my freezer?
We basically package it to last a year, premium quality. So everything we do, which is for premium quality, you know, like the top. And so with the parchment and the heavy duty vacuum seal, you know, individual portion that we do, we do a full year, and basically that works perfect because right around that time the next season starts. So we just try to time it perfectly, and it's amazing that, you know, with each species we end up kind of nailing it. We want to run out right before the fishing starts for the next year. And so we kind of, you know, we can manage it because we're a small business, and I write, you know, emails and things like that, you know, things that we're low on, I'm not promoting, and, you know, something, we have a lot of it, you know, we can kind of move that. And so we kind of end up nailing it, but we're trying to sell right up until we, you know, basically it's frozen and in our freezers. And then when the new season comes out, we're going to switch over and be selling the new season. And so that just, I've had a lot of customers lately asking, what season was this caught? And it's like, it's always this season, but keep it in your freezer and it's good for a year. And we, you know, I'm very confident saying that because we eat the fish all year round. I mean, this is our diet also, and this is how fishermen eat their fish. Is frozen all winter long. I mean, you know, they're not going to stop eating fish. So.
We're in like we do a lot of hunting, so we do eat a lot of venison, and that's always our goal too, is to try to end right when like the last piece of backstrap goes on the first week of season, you know, that sort of thing. So no, it definitely makes sense there. And again, it's good to know like one of the most powerful things I tell people for if you're for food preparation, for cooking, for eating well at home. Like the best investment you can get is a freezer. Like get a deep freeze where you can
a vac sealer.
A vac sealer, so you can seal things, and you can keep things longer, so you can buy larger chunks. Like I'm so pumped. I don't think I told you this, but I've got I have a half a cow. Well, I'm splitting a half a cow from the ranch in Texas that I hunt from, and because just kind of like what we're talking about with Sienna here about like. The fish that you eat is so good because it's right from the tippity top of the best of the best. And it's like, you know, I've had a lot of burgers in my life, but you get 1 pound of ground beef from the cow that's literally on the field that I'm hunting my deer on too, you know. It's just so much better when you can get it straight there right from the butcher. So, you know, if you can buy things like this in bulk, like treat yourself, you know, don't obviously these are not, you know, getting, like you said, like getting the fish just down to your, you know, to headquarters, right, is not an easy feat. And then to ship it across the nation, there's some cost associated with that. But, you know, buy these things, put them in the freezer, add some stuff up. Because it's not like it's something you're gonna like. It's not our tomatoes that are coming into season right now that are gonna be gone in 30 days. You know, so
special meals.
Yeah.
So oxygen we know is the nemesis.
Yes.
So that's why we promote the use of a vac sealer. Can you talk a little bit about what's the oxygen doing? I mean, not just to fish. It's anything.
It's anything.
But particularly like with the fats, right?
Right. Yeah. Basically, oxygenation is, rancidity is oxygen. Like rancidity would be oxygen coming into fats, right? So anytime oxygen is just the worst. I'm trying to think of what terms to say.
We all
the enemy.
Yeah, we kind of need it. But that's the word.
It's great for us. But if you're freezing things, then it's all about. That wrap makes the oxygen barrier, and then the vacuum sealing. So I totally agree. Invest in a good deep freeze, and definitely vacuum seal your meats and whatnot. And sometimes frozen gets kind of a bad name. You know, everybody wants the freshest possible, which is great. And I tell people, you know, if you live by the ocean, then you should definitely be eating fresh fish, you know, obviously. But if you don't, and you're going to the grocery store, the thing about the grocery store is for one, a lot of times they're buying it frozen, and then what they're calling it a refresh. So when they put it out in the counter, they really took it out of the freezer and they're refreshing it for you. So the term fresh is like, I see signs in February and it's like fresh salmon, and I'm like, there's no fresh salmon, wild salmon on the market. It's closed. There's nobody's catching it, and if nobody's catching it, it can't have come just off the boat. So it's refreshed, which is like, come on. But if I'm going to have frozen refreshed, I want to defrost it myself in my kitchen right before I cook it. I don't want it refreshed in a case for X amount of days. It just goes back to that time temperature, So I talk to people, everything we sell is frozen, and they're like, yeah, but I want fresh. And it's like, well, trust me, you don't want it shipped fresh. Real far, all the way.
On the FedEx truck.
It's got 5 to 7 days, on a good, it just takes time to get there. It's just the transit time. So really,
Alaska's pretty far away.
Alaska's far away. Yeah. And so with that transit time, it's like, I even have some people that, they want to buy it fresh and then they want to freeze it themselves. And I'm like, hey, we have professional freezers up in Alaska. Yeah. Why don't you let us do it right when we get it?
I trust you.
Keep
guys,
it frozen, and then you defrost it when you want to eat it. So I think that's, that premium quality fresh versus frozen is an interesting conversation too.
Yeah. Well, let's pulling it back to cooking now, just because
I was going to go there too.
Yeah. So with cooking, you buy again, I fully agree with you. Some of the best vegetables you can get are going to be out of the freezer because they are, from an actual farm. They've not been sprayed with blah, 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 blah. Just because they're frozen doesn't mean they're bad. Like that fresh, never frozen thing is another marketing thing, just like your refresh is another marketing thing that's happened to us that we think makes it so that you can have fresh salmon in February when that doesn't exist. But when it comes to cooking this, so let's say, okay, we've got my frozen salmon. I've purchased it. I pulled it out of the freezer.
Let's talk about thawing.
That's where I'm going first.
Oh, you are? Okay.
So let's talk about I'm going to cook this. What is the proper thawing process to take a frozen piece of salmon fillet, like we just did, right? And bringing it out and getting it ready for cook. What does that process look like at your house?
So, again, because we individually freeze the 6-ounce portions, it's super simple. I mean, I'm spoiled because now I have portions. Fishing family usually have giant fillets, but so I pull out one portion per person I'm going to cook for. And a lot of people like to defrost overnight, and that's okay. You can just take it out and put it in the fridge overnight. For some people, that's kind of like how they like to do it. But and like for big hunks of meat, you kind of have to, right? But for fish, it defrosts very quick, very easy. So I just pull it out literally when I go to cook. And I the first thing I do is pull out the fish. I put it in a bowl of cold water. It needs to be cold, not warm at all. Cold. I leave it in the sink and even, kind of refresh it now and then. But it defrosts in 30 minutes right before I cook it. And I like to do it.
And that's in the plastic.
In the plastic.
Are you talking about the fish in water?
So the fish is still vacuum sealed, and that is important because you don't want to waterlog the fish. So because it's vacuum sealed, you can just put the portions in a bowl and put them in cold water, and they're defrosting. And really, it goes all the way back to that time temperature like I talked about. I don't even want to defrost it and leave it in the fridge for 24 or 48 hours. That refrigerator time is degrading the quality. So just sitting in the fridge, fish is so sensitive that you can tell the difference. So I like to defrost it right before I'm going to cook it. And then I pull it out, I rinse it under the faucet. I'm right there in the sink, right? I just defrost it, and then I rinse it. And somebody emailed me, you rinse your fish, what are you spraying stuff on it? Why are you doing that? I've always rinsed my fish. I think it's because when you hand fillet it, right, it's going to have, a little bit of blood and guts or scales and things like that. So I've always just rinsed it and then I pat it dry. And it is important to have it dry when you cook it. And then I salt it.
And you said rinse. And just for people at home who have maybe have done the thing of where they've waterlogged chicken and let it run over that way. The rinsing is this is run it underwater, use the paper towel to pat it dry.
Yeah.
It's not spraying it full of water again and re-waterlogging.
Yes.
A little bit of water is all you need just to get that nature off.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very quick rinse in cold water, and both sides. And yeah, if there's any fish slime or something like that, that'll just rinse right off, and then you're going to pat it dry immediately. So you're not doing a major waterlog thing. Exactly. Very quick rinse.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I salt it.
Well, I love, so you're.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Well, your website, and actually the box the fish come in, come with some really awesome tools and tips on how to cook your fish. I mean, yeah, we got recipe sheets here. We got all sorts of data, and yeah, your website has tons and tons of really cool information. Because we're getting into the actual cooking phase here, and that's very different per fish.
Yeah,
I'm assuming,
and it's
right?
the part,
you're not going to cook salmon the same way you cook.
A lot of people, that's the part where they say they don't feel confident is the part where they cooking the fish, how to defrost it, how to cook it, just how to handle fish is something that
I was super nervous, and it turned out okay. It did good.
And it's not that hard. Fish isn't that hard. It's just that people haven't used it a lot, so they just don't feel confident. So I really have, and it's because I've started, working in the farmers markets, and I've talked to a lot of people, and I can tell right away that's what they're worried about. Well, when I get home, like, what am I going to do? How do I prepare it? How do I prep it? And so, yes, we put in handling cards and recipe cards, and we want people to just feel confident. And just try it. It's going to be great, and do it a few times and you'll feel confident. It's one of those things where you don't do it because you're not confident, but then you're not confident because you don't do it.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier, it was the first time I've used a stainless steel pan for fish. And I mean, it was gorgeous. I mean, outside of just overdoing it a little bit. I mean,
but that was just time and temperature. That's just, again, but it goes back to like, I also would go on record to say, like, Chris's like overcooked version of that salmon is probably still better than the salmon that
still way better than most of the other salmon
stuff that
I bought, like, from who knows
right.
where.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. But again, like everything else we talked about on the show, so much of cooking and so much of what we're doing here is through experimentation. Is how you get better and better and better at this. So
it's also starting with the best possible ingredients. I mean, and because we had the best possible fish I could get my hands on,
it didn't matter.
It did great.
Go ahead.
I forget where I was going to go. I had a little brain fart. We're good.
I love the rinsing thing, because that's, I think the thawing process of that is huge, especially when we're talking about buying things like a substance or a resource or a material or whatever we want to talk about here that comes from someone far away. Is that freezing is like one of the greatest things we've ever come up with. As a human race, is being able to freeze that food and be able to use it later on throughout the course of time. And I think it's also, you mentioned this as well, that like how like sustainability fishing in Alaska, what that means is that people are on purpose fishing to have stuff when they can't fish. So like naturally, so if someone's afraid of like, whether or not something's been frozen, just again, this goes back to like, if you don't have access or don't have the funds to order from Copper River Watershed Project, you can still look at the package, and you'll find that there is wild caught frozen stuff out there for you too. But I guess let's talk a little bit about like you guys eat a lot of fish in your house. I'm kind of curious, what are some of the top 3 go-to salmon dishes that you tend to I
see one right here. I'm curious if you're going to mention this guy. I'll let you say it first.
Well, let's see. How do I cook the fish? That's actually one of the number one questions I hear, because like I said, I work at the farmer's market, which was a great start for, when you're talking to people for 8 hours, you hear what people are concerned about. And the top question was, but how do you cook the fish? And they're like, you come from a 5th generation fishing family, you have a degree in food science, how do you cook it? And so I do actually have a free downloadable cookbook with our family recipes. But for salmon, my dad, well, he's a fisherman, he cooks a lot of fish. So for years he's been telling me about, oh, I got this new way to cook salmon. I don't flip the salmon. And I was just like, no, Dad, no. I got to have those grill marks on the salmon. I mean, come on, are you kidding me? And so it took him years, and he's cooking it, and he's like, no, you got to try my no flip method. So one time they're watching the kids, and I go up for the opening day for Copper River salmon. I come home with some king and sockeye, off opening day. It's like the most prized fish you can have. And so my dad's like, we're going to do my no flip method, and I'm going to put nothing on it. And I'm like, Dad, no.
Why?
And he said, okay, salt and pepper, and that's it. You can squeeze lemon on it at your plate, but that's it. And so he put it on the grill. I mean, and the no flip, I mean, spoiler, he converted me. So you just put it on the grill with the skin side down. So the skin is right on the grill, and the skin's going to hold it all together, so you don't have the flaking. And I think that flipping on the grill it holds people back. It's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be really hard. Yeah. And so you can do it plain, and it was actually fantastic. Of course, like we've said, it's like the Wagyu. I mean, when you're talking about the premium fish, it doesn't need much. Yeah. So I mean, mentally you can go like, it's going to be great if I put salt and pepper on and put it on the grill and don't touch it. It's good.
Right.
10 or 15 minutes, pull it off. If you're going to not flip it, you just need a lid on your grill. And then you pull it off. And
well, see, I was going to say cedar plank technique. Like, you're not supposed to flip it, correct?
Same. And we do a cedar plank a lot.
Okay. Because so on your website, you've got an awesome page all about cedar plank. And I've been doing it wrong.
Oh, really?
Shocker.
Yes. I've never researched it. Like I said, we're Indiana boys. Like, I don't go fishing a lot. Like, definitely don't eat salmon a lot. Most of it.
Well, the big part is
we won't
you
get
have
into
to
that
soak
right now,
the cedar plank. So that's
soak the wood.
Yeah, you gotta soak
that was
the wood.
That was one big
that's
thing.
Really big. And that's
my salmon got smoked a little bit harder than most I think should when I cedar planked mine. It wasn't bad. It just
I'm envisioning an overcooked piece of meat that tastes like the inside of your grandmother's.
Only a little bit of char. Only a little char, but no. Again, your website has awesome data on like how to properly cedar plank.
Yeah, and like we've talked about with fish.
But I'm kind of curious about your. Yeah, well, I'm kind of curious about your grill marks. How are you doing that? Like, without it sticking like crazy? Just tons of oil?
Yeah, if you flip it. So, I mean, if you're going to flip the fish, then what you want to do is...
Which she's telling you not to do.
I mean, I don't flip it anymore. But, that's sometimes you got to have those grill marks. And I have this great... I'm
a photographer. Yeah, I like the pretty grill marks. I like the char. I flipped the salmon here in our the stainless steel, and like in that crispy.
In the pan, I would do that. Yeah, for sure. Okay. But if you're going to flip it and do the grill marks, which I have a friend who does halibut. Her husband, she's like, bring over some halibut, because my husband makes perfect halibut with the grill marks. And I went over, and I have a video of him doing it, but he has the most pristine grill, and he keeps it really clean, and he sprays it first. So it's a really well-oiled grill. And then, you're putting it flesh side down first. And one key on that, if you're going to flip it, is don't wait too long. You don't want it overcooked and flaky. So you want to get those grill marks and then flip it while it's still. When it's raw, it holds together better. So you want to get the grill marks and flip it. And he even did the grill marks and then the quarter turn. So you had the diamond, which was very beautiful.
Taking it up a notch.
Very beautiful. Yes, so you're just going to sear and then turn and sear, and then you're going to flip it and cook the rest. And it's really about that early. Don't leave it on too long, or it's going to be flaky.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily need perfect grill marks on both sides of the fish, because you're not going to see half the fish.
Right.
So focus on that first side probably, and then just let the other side cook all the way through.
Right.
But not over. Awesome. Yes. Well, we're running up on time, unfortunately. We've got so much more we could talk about.
Round 2.
Yes, a round 2 I think would be so much fun. Like, just, again, talking more about science and nutrition and all that stuff. Stuff we need to hear more. We need to hear the proper information. Like Andy said earlier, a lot of us have our own thoughts and opinions based on information that we don't know where it came from. So yeah, it's a pleasure to hear you say some things, to validate some things, and just to I guess, maybe correct some stuff or just clear some stuff up.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is, I guess people don't know what they don't know, and especially regionally, this is a protein that we don't get to. The experience we have so far is it started in a grocery store or at a restaurant, people just don't know what they don't know, and it takes someone just educating properly to learn.
Well, and just tasting what good fish should taste like. Like if you don't have a solid seafood restaurant in your area, I highly encourage you, place an order, try some like legit good fish, and it will change your mind.
Yep.
Absolutely.
My wife's not a big fish.
She might like this.
She doesn't like the taste of fish, but up in Alaska, she did.
Right.
Weird.
Go figure.
Exactly.
Yes. So again, at the end of each episode, we typically ask for a recipe from you guys. You already kind of gave us one, but it's more of a technique. You guys have tons and tons of cool information on your site. So I might encourage the viewers just to go take a peek at your website, browse the recipe. You said you have a free cookbook, right, on the website?
Yeah, if people jump on our email list, that's kind of where I like to spend time. And our email list is very educational. You find a lot out, seasonality of fish and everything else, and a lot of cooking tips. And so jump on our email list, and you get a free downloadable cookbook when you join, and that's our family recipes.
Awesome.
Love
yes.
it. So cool.
If I'm not a part of that officially, I will be moving forward, because that's super cool. Your photos are gorgeous. The fish, most importantly, is gorgeous. Like it was awesome. Like I can't wait to try it again. We'll link everything below. Where can we find you guys though? You're on socials. You got the website.
Yeah, like I said, jump on our site, senasea.com, senasea.com. And we spend a lot of time on Instagram too, because I love food photos. So jump over there for Sena Sea at Seafoods, I think, over there.
Awesome. Real quick though, I am going to ask you the best side dish for fish.
Oh.
What are you going to first of all?
I do whatever's in season, and I like to. If I'm grilling, then I'm grilling a bunch of veggies. If I am baking, I'm baking a bunch of veggies. And if I'm sautéing, I'm going to sauté the veggies. So I try to be very efficient, but it's just whatever's in season. I mean, in the spring, I love barbecued vegetables, like grilled. So I love grilled onions. I love grilled green onions, asparagus in the spring, and then our corn just started here. So we have really amazing sweet corn, and I've been throwing the sweet corn right on the grill with the fish, and it's amazing.
Yes. Oh, grilled corn is
the best.
Top tier. Well, I'm bummed out because I just cooked that fish here in the studio, and I've got some fresh Indiana tomatoes in the fridge, and I totally forgot to put those in the pan. That was my plan.
I know where you can get more.
We had salmon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Well, Sena, thank you so much for joining us. This was phenomenal. Absolutely love our conversation. I will 100% be placing another order. But thank you so much for sending that sampler pack over. We've been crushing it and absolutely loving it. So really appreciate what you guys are doing, and just appreciate you giving fresh fish to the masses. I love it.
Thank you.
Keep it
Thanks.
up.
This was super fun, you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. I got a lot more questions that I just thought of. So we'll be doing a part
Round
2
Yep.
at some point.
Definitely.
To be continued.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks.
And we'll talk soon.